everyone was assigned a job in the hospital workers' strike. There were no cell phones, no internet. The work was grassroots. A minister explains that his interview with a young minister named Martin Luther King Jr. sealed his commitment to a life of service and eventually the front lines of the hospital workers' strike.
And I think one of the things that made me get involved in the movement when I had the opportunity was seeing my grandmother unable to go into a restaurant and eat. She used to love barbecue, and there was this barbecue place, and she would have to stand outside, and they had a window. She had to order through the window, and I swore if I ever got the chance that I would make life better for her.
You said that someone who had another incredible impact, another woman in your life, was Septima P. Clark.
Yes.
How did you come to meet Septima Clark?
In 1965, I was asked to go to the Penn Center. Well, Mrs. Clark was part of the Citizenship Education Program for LCLC, and I got to know her. After a couple of days of conversation, she called Dr. King and said, I have this young man that I think we should have on our staff, and I don't want him to go through the normal process. I want you to do it. Basically, two big questions for me. Are you willing to accept nonviolence? And I said, I think so. Are you willing to die? I said, absolutely.
So Dr. King asked you those questions. Mm-hmm. How did you feel at that time, and did you realize, being very young, did you have any idea the magnitude of what would unfold in your life?
Here I am, this country boy from Alabama, meeting this person, and it was just extraordinary. I would say my life changed at that moment.
Eventually your work would bring you to South Carolina,
right,
specifically to Charleston. The year 1969, the hospital workers' strike.
One of my specific tasks was to work with young people. One of the things besides blocking traffic on King Street, I had a team of young people, and we would go into apartment stores, and we had cowbells and basketball, and we would just ring the cowbells in the stores, and the ladies, they didn't know what was going on.
So you were disrupting.
Yes.
And making people uncomfortable, exactly, so that they would be less likely to shop.
Right, exactly.
In a nonviolent way.
In a nonviolent way. The whole thing was to keep people from shopping and keep people from coming to Charleston for convention.
Do you believe that the action of being a disruptor to affect Charleston economically, that it was impactful?
That's what made the difference, was the impact on the city of Charleston economically. The business was being heard. In particular, I think the night marches, had a great impact because essentially people couldn't go downtown.
Because there was the curfew.
There was a curfew. You had state police and the National Guard. We tend to forget those people when we talk about the movement. It's just those of us who was in the street. But I like to give
to recognize them,
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
When we went to jail, who bailed us out if it wasn't the black businessmen or business people? And so those people, played an important role in the movement, just by allowing us to stay in their home, by feeding us. You're never too young and you're never too old to make a difference.